And that's all, folks. Even with overtime, neither team came out victorious as the Vikings and the Packers tied 26 to 26. During the course of that 4-hour-long football game, green waste statistics say that up to 100 million plastic water bottles were used and thrown away in the United States alone. While hiking on a secluded trail in Glacier National Park in Montana when I was 10 years old, I came across a discarded water bottle in a place that had previously been known to be very natural and untouched by human existence. Even at that young age, I couldn't believe that someone in such a remote location could be so careless. It was a time for change. Recycling is as easy as throwing away any other type of garbage, and I would like everyone to consider the advantages of using the proper trash receptacles in the future. Today I'm going to tell you about the need for recycling, the weighty statistics of our recyclable waste production, what everyone can do to reduce recyclable waste production, and how it can reduce the impact humans are making on the environment in the future. According to Green Waste, the average person produces up to 4.5 pounds of trash each day, and 75% of which is recyclable. But the truth is, only about 30% of this waste is actually recycled. This can include newspapers, food waste, excessive packaging, and used gadgets, to name a few. According to an article by author Verde Mom, with the current heavy use of synthetic materials that greatly resist decomposition, over 50% of waste that ends up in landfills could stay there forever. Nearly 1/3 of the waste generated in the US is unnecessary packaging that fits this description. Sorry, my computer fell asleep. Even when taking into account the energy required for obtaining and transporting recycled materials, Jeffrey Morris has done research and concludes that it is still at least twice as energy efficient to use recycled materials for manufacturing than using virgin materials. Over the last 30 years, Americans have increased their consumption of water from plastic water bottles by a factor of 20, regardless of the fact that bottled water can cost up to 1,000 times more than tap water. That is a statistic provided by Susanna DeDyer. Now that I've told you about some of the statistics behind our recyclable waste production, I'd like to move on to how we can reduce this waste. By using reusable products such as water bottles and flatware, we can reduce the amount of waste we produce while saving money at the same time. I've been using the same Nalgene water bottle now for nearly 5 years, much like this water bottle. And I would estimate that over that time period I've consumed at least 1,000 gallons of water from it, which equates to about 2,000 plastic water bottles that haven't had to be produced or recycled. By buying products in concentrated in bulk or refillable forms, the consumer can save at least 20% and reduce waste production by 30%. That's a statistic provided by EPA. Many products are becoming available in this form, like detergent for instance, which not only saves the consumer money and uses less packaging, but it is also designed to be safe for the environment after it is washed down the drain. Many products now include the percent of recycled material used in the production and the recyclability of their product when faced for the time of disposal. Just last week I bought a new pair of winter gloves whose packaging was minimal and also contained the information that 15% of the fibers used were from recycled sources. If only we could get more companies to adopt this type of practice, it would make a huge difference. Now that I've showed you a few ways that we can reduce our recyclable waste production, I'd like to move on to the environmental impacts of our decisions today and how they will affect the future. According to Verde Mom, there is a plastic island floating in the Pacific Ocean from dumping waste into the ocean that is the size of Texas. This is a result from overflowing landfills and material that doesn't decompose rapidly While the beverage industry uses 46% less packaging today than it did in 1990, consumption of plastic water bottle use in the US has nearly tripled during that time frame. And that are statistics that are supported both by the American Beverage Association and the EPA. Just by replacing one bottle of water daily with tap water, we could drastically decrease our impact on the environment and save money in the process. If the US recycled just half of their petroleum-based plastic water bottles that we produce annually, we could save nearly 25 million barrels of oil. That's enough to meet the demand of the entire US for 5 days. That's a statistic that's also supported by the EPA. This would decrease our CO2 emissions and demand for fossil fuels and save place in landfills in the process. Recently, companies have been developing ways to utilize our excessive plastic waste by molding park benches and creating weatherproof siding for buildings, just to name a few. These have shown to be incredibly efficient and durable, and the idea is catching momentum. Today I've talked to you about the statistics of plastic recycling, how we can reduce our recyclable waste production as individuals, and some of the future environmental impacts that our decisions are making today. By choosing to participate in the Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle campaign, each of us can eliminate nearly 3 pounds of waste per day. Just let that sink in over the course of a year. Thanks.